In this video, I'm going to show you how to deploy an AI-powered social media agent step by step. So all you'd ever have to do is input, let's say, an article URL that you like. What this will then do is create an engaging, high-quality, unique post specific to that platform. The automation then checks to see what you think about it so you can edit it within the sheet. And if you click approve, it will then also go and create a highly specific image based on your preferred style and post automatically to your platform of choice. And what makes this automation really powerful is that the only thing you have to do is enter a URL and then click approve if you want to. And the reason why the approval thing is great, because let's say you get a post that you think's 95% there, you can just change one or two things or just the formatting, click approve, and this will post automatically for you. And the automation contains two parts. It's got part A, which is the creation part, and then we've got the second part here. And I'll show you exactly how to build it, but if you want access to all the prompts, the agents, the blueprints, and all the scenarios in the video, so you just come here, click import blueprint, choose the file, click this one here, upload it, click save, and it'll generate the automations for you automatically. So I'm going to start by showing you this automation in practice so you can see that it actually works. So I propose, let's look at some OpenAI news, for example. So we'll get a random blog and we'll go through it together. I don't know, let's go for this article here, okay? Great, so all we're gonna do is gonna copy the URL. We're gonna come back over to your feature agent, insert any article, click enter. Perfect. And the reason I want to sort of run it through is just so you can see in practice how this actually works. So we hit run once. Obviously in reality, this will run in the background. So what happens is Google Sheets has found that something's happened. Perplexity AI is taking that URL, and all Perplexity does is it just transcribes it word for word so you get a carbon copy. This then goes through to our LinkedIn agent to basically take that cool copy and create something amazing that will do very, very well on LinkedIn with all the hashtags and everything else that you need. And this works for any example, but if I looked at the LinkedIn Autonomous Agent here, it's got all the data, it's trained on multiple examples of what works well. But this would work for any of the platforms and you can use any agent you like. So now our LinkedIn agent is working in the background. What I really love about this automation is the fact that you can do the editing for it afterwards. And the other cool thing is it's just all within one sheet, right? So you don't have to go between different applications, and it gets really epic when you can add the images afterwards as well. And just like that, it's populate the entire article into this thing so we can read through it, see if we want to make any amendments. But let's say, do you know what? That's perfect. Let's post it. All we then do is we come over here, we click this, and we say, do you know what? Yes, that's approved. And then we go on to the second part of the automation, which is this wonderful thing, and I'll explain this all in detail and show you how to do it. Then all we do is click this run once, but in reality, this will be running in the background. And out of respect for your time, I'll just show you the output, and then I'll show you exactly how you build this. So we come over to our LinkedIn feed. Okay, so we've got me, head of Doodoo Dynamics. That's not actually what I do, but I made this like fake profile just to show you guys how it works. There you go, perfect, just posted. Okay, so to run this, you only need three things. You need meg.com, obviously. You're going to need access to Perplexity, which you should probably already have now if you've seen a couple of these videos. So on Perplexity, you basically buy API credits, it's $5, and you can get like a load of stuff. All you do is perplexity.ai, create an account, come down, and then you'll see down below here, you can get buy API credits. Of course, you'll also need Google Sheets for this. And then thirdly, you'll need access to OpenAI's API. If you go to platform.openai.com, you can buy credits for your API, like $5, $10, whatever you like, but you do need this subscription, which is like $20 a month, and then you'll be ready to go. So the first thing I want to do is create a new Google Sheet. This is going to be really important. So we're going to call this Create Together Automation. And then we'll give it a little emoji for a little bit of flair. We'll give it the mystic ball, one of the best emojis out there. And then what you want to do is enter these headings in over here, and then we can just align these up to make it nice and tidy. And then I've added in the approvals where you click it, you go approved or not approved. If you want a link for this sheet, I'll put it down below in the description for you as well, so you can just grab that. A little tip for you, I'd recommend you copy and paste them over rather than uploading it. If it becomes a CSV, sometimes it really doesn't like that, so just bear that in mind when you do upload it. As you can tell, if it's an issue, we've probably seen it. So where do we start? Well, what we want to do is we want to watch for when a row is created. So all we do for that is we're going to find Google Sheets. We're going to go for watch new rows, which is trigger when a new row is added. Perfect, so we select that. If you're not connected, you'll be prompted to do so here on the right-hand side. And then all you're going to do is search by path, my drive, click here to choose file. I've selected our beautiful Create Together automation. Perfect. Table contains headers, yes. Row with headers, yes. Blah, blah, blah. Sheet name, we're going to put that as sheet 1. You don't need to worry about multi-sheets at the moment. And then we're going to click OK. Essentially what's going to happen now is anytime any rows added, this is going to let us know. So let's test that, shall we? Okay, so we've just copied this random article. We'll come over to our wonderful new sheet. I'm going to enter it. Click enter, and then we'll come back over to our automation. And then we'll click run once. And if we've done our job properly, we should see our article pop up here. Great, let's have a look. And has it found it? Yeah, great, cool. Insert any article, and there's our URL. Perfect. And the next thing I want to do is add Perplexity. Now, the role that Perplexity plays here, essentially, is because it has internet access, we're just going to get it to transcribe something. Now, Perplexity have just been verified on Make.com, which means you don't need to buy an additional third-party add-on, so that will save you like $39. So, Mistral 7b instruct, yes. Add message item, yes. We want the role to be user, and all we're going to say is transcribe this article word for word. And then we come down here and we're left, and you can see this thing flashing up here, insert any article, and there's our article URL. So we click on that. Perfect. All right, great. So we'll come here, let's just copy this URL. And one thing you'll see me doing a lot is testing each module as it comes across, because like I always say, you don't want to build like a 20-step module and then find out that it doesn't work. So we put that one in there, we click OK. We'll let Perplexity do its magic. Now the output we're looking for here is essentially just the content of the article, because that's what the functionality we're using it for. So we click on this, come down to choices, +1, message, content, and look at that, perfect. The entire article exactly as we wanted it. And the next thing we're gonna create is an agent. If you've not used an agent before, you're gonna absolutely love this. So we're gonna click on add a new module, come down to ChatGPT. Excellent, come across over here, and we're looking for message and assistant. Perfect, and now we need to build our agent. So the purpose of this agent essentially is to take the transcript and turn it into something amazing like a LinkedIn post. So if I just show you what the agent looks like, so I'm in our school community here, this could be any of the social medias, I'm just picking LinkedIn as an example here. Funny fact, by the way, LinkedIn has the average highest net worth per user class, so maybe one to think about with the marketing. So this one, for example, we've been really specific about what we need to be in there, and obviously if you want to build one of these yourself, I'd encourage you to include like really relevant examples. Like we've got loads of examples in here. And so basically you get the text like this. So we just copy the whole text, and then we come into OpenAI platform. You're going to come over to platform.openai.com. You're going to come down here to assistants on the left-hand side, then create new assistant. So this one, we're going to call it LinkedIn Build Together. And you know what? Let's give it that special emoji one more time. Great, we enter in our LinkedIn prompt, and we just say which industry we want. So let's just say AI industry for the sake of it. Perfect. And literally all you do is pick the model. I've had great success with GPT-4 Turbo. Little hack, by the way, is I'd encourage you to build your automations using like the best model available. And then once you know that it works, you can start to downgrade these to like GPT 3.5 and whatever you like as you go through. And that'll help to save your cost as you scale. Now, honestly, once you've done that, it's done, it's complete. You can also add docs down below if you'd like to, but for our purposes today, that's perfect. If you want to play around with it, just come to the playground, you get into prompts, and it'll show you what it'll do. And now we've created that, we come back over to make, we go for the assistant here. And since it's not showing, I just hit the refresh button so we can find it, because sometimes if you've loaded it before, it won't show there. So that's a problem that you might find sometimes. And right at the top, a wonderful LinkedIn Build Together. That's perfect. Now, what do we want the message to be? Well, the way that we've configured the bot means we don't really have to include a message. All we really need is just the data, right? So click on the message. We're going to scroll down to find out what the output is here, right? So we go down to choices, message, content. Perfect. There you go. That's excellent. And then we click OK. So we're going to test it again. So let's go down to choices, come down to +1, come down to message, come down to content. We right click, run this module only, add item. We're going to come down to this thing here, which is content, enter the content, hit OK, and then let it run in the background. And if this has done its job properly, when this is complete, we should have something that looks like that has the makings of a super viral LinkedIn post. Excellent, so that's completed. Let's just check out if the results looks like what we're looking for. Can't ID, let me just move it here so you can get a good look at it. +1, text, value. Yeah, and there we go. That's exactly the kind of thing I want. Am I seeing hashtags at the bottom plus a CTA? That's exactly what I'm seeing. Perfect. So just to summarize, here we entered the URL on the sheet. That came back over. Perplexity then transcribed the article word for word. It then went through our really cool LinkedIn bot. But what we need to do now is get the output from that to come back and paste it in the LinkedIn post. So how do we do that? Well, you might have guessed it. It's something to do with Google Sheets again. So we come back over and we find Google Sheets. And what we're going to search for here is update a cell. So again, I've set the spreadsheet ID, create together automation. Perfect. Sheet name is going to be sheet 1. Now we need to specify the cell, right? So, well, what cell is it? So we click on cell here. And if I can just zoom out a little bit so you can see, Google Sheets identified a change initially in this column here. And I just want to explain this for you. It found something in A2. We want the output in B2. So what we do is we find out exactly where that was entered. So you can see this is specified for us the row number, which is perfect, right? So that already told us what the row number is. So that all we then have to do is put B behind it and it's done. And it's literally that simple. So we come back over to our Google Sheet. We're gonna hit enter. That's our new article. Come back over to our automation, and then we're just gonna hit run once. And then if this has done its job properly, if I come back over here, we should see at some point something in this field pop up for LinkedIn posts. And it's running through LinkedIn. It's really interesting. Actually, quite a few people in the community have said that they love the Instagram, the Facebook, LinkedIn, but also interestingly Pinterest, which I think is a really, really interesting one to look at actually. So we're going to look at how we can automate lots of stuff on all these platforms. And the content's one part of it, but it's also like, what's your strategy? And I think AI can help in so many different ways through the whole process. So there's so much content that we can create together on that. And this is work, we should see it in here now. And we don't. And we don't see it in there because, let's have a look at what we coded in there. B number 3, great, but we didn't specify the value, right? Which is exactly why it didn't come up. Cool, so then all we would do in this situation is we just zoom out a tiny bit just so you can get a good view of it. Click on the value, let's have a look. We're looking for this perplexity. We're looking for this one here. So we just click on result. Excellent. Okay, great. So then let's click on this here. Let's copy it all up one more time. Let's copy all of this. Amazing, cool. And the reason, like, I keep all this sort of stuff in, like, where it doesn't work is because, like I said before, I really want this to be a channel where like you get a good sense of actually what it's like running this software, so you don't feel like, you know, you're failing if it isn't perfect. So we've got row number. Well, what row number was it? Let's have a quick look. This is row number 3. Cool. We come back, hit row number 3, hit OK, and then now is the real moment of truth. We should see it right there, and we do. Perfect. And let's just change the font to Avenir because I think that font is a bit cooler. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the first part of the automation. So if you managed that successfully, congratulations, that's awesome. Then we go over to the second part of our automation. And so for this one, we're at make, we come again to the top right, create a new scenario. Excellent. And then we start again. And what we're going to do here is create something that's going to spring into action when this happens here, okay? So I've got this new scenario here, and I've just titled our scenario 1, and scenario 2, so we can keep track. And it's good practice actually, because you may find you have quite a few automations. So what do we want then? We want to set up something that's going to watch out for the cell to know that something's been created in B3. But because it's in a separate page, it's not as easy to put the data over. So this is what I found for me worked really well. So we're going to Google Sheets, and then I'm going to type in watch, and you're looking for watch changes. So we click on watch changes here, and as you can see, it's asked for something really spooky called a webhook. So we click here, let's add our own webhook, shall we? Let's call this the work together webhook. And of course, our patent pending emoji is in there too. Perfect. We click save, and then you'll see this little link here. All I want you to do is copy address to clipboard. And then we come back over to Google Sheets, and you'll see this thing here called extensions, and I want you to click that. Then go to add-ons, and click on Get Add-ons. And what we have here is a Google Workspace Marketplace, which is like infinitely more lame than like the Apple Marketplace. So all we do here is we type in make, hit enter, and you'll see this at the top here, make full Integromat, and you need to download that. I've downloaded it because I've got it installed, which is excellent. So once that's done, we come off, and then we come over to extensions, and at the bottom of extensions, you should see here, make for Google Sheets. And I want to come over and click on settings. And once you do that, something should pop up on the right. Hopefully I'm not in the way here, but the only field you need to worry about for the purposes of this automation is this thing here. It says webhook URL. So what we do, we come back over to our automation, copy this, we come here, and then we're just going to enter it in. Perfect. And then you scroll down, and at the bottom right, you should be able to see save. And just all you do is hit the button save, and we should see some changes confirmed in the middle of the screen if this has worked properly. Settings saved successfully. Little tip for you as well is that some people struggle with this on Safari, so if you're finding it isn't working, it might be worth just trying to do that in Chrome instead. We've now linked this module with that Google Sheet, so we click OK. So what should we do? Well, let's run it to see that it actually works, right? So run this module, let's see if it's picked up anything interesting. So that's running in the background, and nothing's happening. Well, why is nothing happening? Because there's been no changes, right? So let's copy this, and we're going to emulate the output of the previous automation. So I'm going to click enter. Now, if this has worked properly, if we come back over, we should start to see exactly perfect. We come here, user, row values, +1, long string on the B. And does that look familiar? It should do, because we just made it perfect. So it's picked it up, and what that has enabled us to do is take the output from our previous automation over here and bring it back into this one, which is excellent. So if I look at the output, right, what this has given us here is notation B4. If I go to our sheet, what do we need to give it? We need to give it C4, because C4 is going to be the thing where we approve it or disapprove it. So we need a way of taking that B and transforming it into a C. So what I did for this one is all I literally did is add another module, come down, message an assistant, come here, and I just made like the most like over-engineered GPT ever for a really simple task. So you come back over to platform.openai to build your bot, and the bot basically does this, right? So context, you're an Excel coding bot capable of only producing a letter and a number. You will be given a cell reference, for example, B10. You'll then type out the output C10. The numbers remain the same. Your sole job is to replace B with C with whatever number you're given. For the avoidance of doubt, include no other text or words, only C and an X. For example, if you've given B55, the output would be C55. Now, this also really, I think, underscores the value of agents. Zapier, for example, is a different no-code automation tool, has things that you can do where you can specify things with sheets. But I think agents are just so versatile. They can do so many things. It's great for whatever you want to do, basically. So here, what would we do? Well, we would take the message output from what's changes, right? So what are we looking for here? We're looking for B4, which is a range A1 notation, because this sheet here has said, hey, something's popped up here. Great, B4, so we need to now parameterize C4. So we come back over, we pick the Google Sheets Find the Approval column bar, and so let's give it a little bit of a run. So if we give it B4, for example, if this has done its job properly, it should translate it into C4, so we can parameterize the cell and get something dope from it. So wait for this one to load in the background. This is like the easiest task in the world, so we should see C4 in the content. Let's bring it over here, take a look. +1, text, C4. Excellent. So now we've got that. The next thing we need to do is just pull through what that says. And so we're saying, hey, we want you to pull through C4 or C3, whatever the status is, so we know that if it's approved, we can actually post that. So what we do here is we click plus, again, Google Sheets, and we're going to say get a cell. Perfect. And what do we say? Let's do enter manually. Now we want to go through it, select from a list. Excellent. My Drive, the create together automation. Excellent, that loads in, sheet name, sheet 1, and the cell we want, and we want the output, right? So if I hover over C4, we can see that flashing up in the background, which is exactly what we want, C4, perfect. Click OK. Now watch, if I come back over to our Google Sheet, let's say that I am happy with the post, and I say that is approved. If I come back here and actually run this module only, and I just give it C4, that should come back and say, yes, approved with big thumbs up. So let's check it out. Approved, excellent. So just to summarize, the second automation has identified, hey, the article's been populated in the sheet. It's then said, great, cool. Well, then the Google Sheets thing is saying, great, what is the status of your opinion on it? Is it approved or not approved? The next thing we need to do in this automation is actually grab the content itself so that this automation can fire off and post it. So again, what we do is get cell, and just for simplicity, I'm just going to clone it. Get cell, and then what do we want it to get? We want it to get this cell output here, right? So we know that the change was in B4. That's where the update was. So all we do here is we come down. We don't want the result of this. What we actually want is, let's scroll down. Range, A1 notation, B4. Perfect. Does that work? Well, let's run it and see if it does or not. So let's see B4. This works. What we should see is the information in this column here. So we come back over. Let's scroll, +1, output value, long string. Big news from Stability AI, they've just launched a stable LM2. Come back over, big news from Stability AI, they've just launched a stable LM2. Excellent, we're making really good progress. Now, this is where we need to add a filter. I want to briefly explain this because you may find this really helpful when you're building your own automations. The reason why I had it grab the value of this cell here, rather than creating a filter, which you can do here, and I'll show you in a second, is because I found it a nightmare. Sometimes I was so explicit on what I wanted to be and approved, but just for some reason, it kept failing. I found it way more reliable to just get the output into the automation and then just read it out. And for you guys, I just wanted automations to be easy to do with as few failure points as possible. And that's just what I found works better for me when I was building this automation. So what we do here, we're gonna add a filter. We're gonna zoom in a little bit to get a little bit of an up close view. Click on the spanner, set up a filter. Excellent. So what's the condition? We're going to call this one approved. Excellent. And the condition is if this value here, approved, which is in reference to this sheet, if that is approved, what we want it to say is contains, and little type is don't go for contains, go for contains case insensitive. It will save you a lot of trouble, I promise. Okay, click on approved, and then we click OK. Excellent. So what we basically said to this is this filter here, essentially, if we've looked at this post, it's identified there's been something. If that isn't approved, the automation stops. Nothing happens, it won't post. However, if you've gone in and you've said, hey, I like the look of that, you've amended it, maybe you've made some adjustments to it, you formatted it, whatever you want, you click approve, then it will proceed to the rest of the automation. So let's run it and test the whole thing out, right? So we're gonna click run once. We're gonna go for wait for new data. We're gonna back over to our sheet. I'm just gonna copy and paste that in here to replicate, what it'll look like in reality. Let's say we approve it, we come back over. Google Sheets found the change. It's now messaging the assistant to do the little translation for Google Sheets. Found that, approved, gone through, perfect, got a cell. And if we come down, value long string, it's pulled through everything we needed, just like that. Now, just for the sake of proving that it does work and this filter's working properly, I'm gonna rerun it right again immediately. Wait for new data. Let's come back over to our Google Sheet. Let's copy this, come down, enter it. And you know what, actually, I'm not feeling that today. I'm gonna give it a big disapproval. I come back over to our automation. Now, if this works, it should never make it past this approve filter, and it didn't stop it. So why did it fail? Well, it failed because the options I created were approved, not approved. So an approved filter just won't work in that. And I've made a few of these different sheets, so it's good. This is why it's so good to run through, and I want to give you that live experience. So we'll click run once again, wait for new data, back over to the Google Sheet, copy this one, come down, enter, perfect. Are we happy? We're not happy. We're gonna click now with that. We're gonna come back. If this works, it should not make it past the approve filter. It should stop there, and it has. It's killed it. It's killed the automation because it didn't approve it, which is excellent. It's exactly what we want, which means that it's just not going to post the stuff that you don't want it to post. So the next thing we want to do is we want a lovely image to go with our LinkedIn post, right? So we click on plus new. We're going to go to ChatGPT. Excellent. And then we're going to go down and we're going to find generate an image. Come over here. Model we want is DALL-E 3. Excellent. So prompt, well, let's first of all decide on the style, shall we? So let's check out the DALL-E 3 blueprint. This has got basically all the sizes that you need for each platform as well. So first of all, let's just set out what the dimensions are. So first of all, dimensions, perfect. Come back over to our DALL-E blueprint. Let's do something in, let's just go for something like neoclassicism, shall we? Let's copy this prompt, come back over to our scenario, and to create an image in classical style for this data. Come down, and then we want the output right that it's got, which is the value from the Google Sheets when we did the grab a cell thing. Excellent. Come down. Now that's done, we're gonna click OK. So let's run the whole automation again. So click run once. We're gonna click on wait for new data. We come back over to the sheet. We're gonna copy this, come down, hit enter, come down, click approve. Then we go back over to our automation. And what should we have? Well, it should go through the approve filter, and then once it's done that, it should generate our image. Excellent, it's done that. Let's grab the cell, it's generating our image in our own particular style, which should be great, and then we'll be able to see it. And then I'm gonna show you how you get that image to post on LinkedIn with the content that we've actually got, which would be really, really, really cool. Superb, so it's done. We'll click on the one, come down to data, +1, revise prompt, and there we go. We've got it, so let's open up a new tab, enter it, and see the image. Perfect, done. It's given us a neoclassic style. I mean, it's quite a weird one to look at, isn't it, actually? It's like, we've got this beautiful art style, all of this like future tech stuff. I think that's a really cool image. I love that. And I love they're doing that, you can't stop these business guys from working on my laptops, that's for sure. So we come back over, that's complete. Now what we need to do is find a way to get that image over into text and over to LinkedIn. So what you're gonna use next is this. It's called get HTTP, get a file. And what we're going to say to this is, hey, I want you to grab the file from what DALL-E just generated. We click on that. Let's go down and find it. Where are you? Where are you? Let's have a look. Is this flashing? It's pulsing. Click on data, URL. Perfect. That's done. And then we're going to add in LinkedIn. So we click on plus. We'll go on LinkedIn. Let's go down LinkedIn here. Obviously, when you click on this, you'll just need to verify and connect your account together. Now, if you want to post text, you would simply click on create user text post. If you want to post text and images, you click on create a user image post, and there'll be a field for entering both. And then when you come here, what I want to click is this HTTP get a file, which is great. And then we just simply align everything that we need to, okay? So the only thing we need to do then is just imply the content. Just click on content. What's the content we want to do is the value bit here, right? Click OK. Perfect. And then the final thing we need to do is add this filter here at the end, which is approve. Now, the reason why I need to add this filter in here, if I come back over to Google Sheets, can you see on the right hand side here? You may not be able to see it, but on the right hand side, you can actually specify the range. So when I initially created this automation, I basically said to it, hey, I only ever want you to watch cells in column B. But no matter what combination I entered into it, for some reason, it just wouldn't do it. It only works, for me at least, when you give it the full sheet. There was no combination I could put in that only exclusively did that. So the way that we solved for this is we had a filter at the end of the journey. And the filter is simply this. We click on the filter, set up a filter. I'm going to put final check. And the condition is simply this, is that the text does not start with case insensitive approved. So what that means is that this Google Sheet, when it's watching for new rows, will sometimes find out the fact that you've changed it from nothing to approve. So by adding this step in, it just means that it won't create a good post for us. So it does not start with approved. We click OK. Now to check this works, let's give it a completely unique topic. So let's go for English Springer Spaniels. I actually have 4 Springer Spaniels. They are rambunctious. They're a good time. So let's find a piece of news on it just for the sake of the test. So I've just opened this page here for American Kennel Club. What we're going to do is copy the URL, come back over to our cool spreadsheet. We're going to come down. Great. So then we've got this Google Sheets, just found the new row, which is great. Goes through to Perplexity AI. And then it'll go to a message on Assistant to create the new text that we like. Excellent, so it is working in the background to create our perfect automation. And by the way, if you've got ideas for automations, let me down below. We're starting to get a really good idea of what people want. I'd also be curious to know, what interests you about AI? Is it like, are you trying to improve it for your day job? Do you want to be an entrepreneur, do some kind of cool businesses in it? It'd be great to know what applications you want to get out of this. I think a really cool thing is just like how many different things that you can actually do with it. I think it's incredible. And now let's update the cell. If we come back, we should see that, and we do. Perfect. Meet the English Springer Spaniel athlete with a heart of gold, and it's given us the full breakdown of that post. And then now we come back here, set this one to run every hour so it has a chance to read your approval update. But for the purpose of this, I'm just going to hit run once and enter the data as it would do. So we're going to click on wait for new data. Now, when I enter this URL in, this should result, if this has worked properly, with a post on Springer Spaniels with a really cool image. And we'll test that in live time to make sure that it works. Cool. So let's go over to the article. We're going to come over here. We're going to enter it here. Let's say that we're happy with that. So we come over, come down to post. That is approved. We go back over to the automation. Google Sheets found the change. It's done the code. It's approved. It's now going to generate an image for us. I brought Springer Spaniels. It's now getting the code. Then I'll go to get the file from a HTTP. Minus coffee is delicious. Honestly, if coffee was bad for you, I don't know how I would actually feel, but thank God it's great for you. Great, so it's created the image, it's pulled the file, and now it's posted on LinkedIn. So let me pull up LinkedIn actually right now, just so that we can see this thing go live. Go to LinkedIn, quickly go to my profile, view profile. Let's see, we have nothing on, oh, wait, there you go, it's posted, see? Amazing, come down, meet the English Springer Spaniel, the athlete with a heart of gold. Did you know? Look at this, guys. And at the end, we've got the Springer Spaniels in the exact style that we wanted, that we found from a DALL-E blueprint, which is like amazing. Guys, that is so cool. And the thing I love about this automation more than anything else is that you can approve and actually adapt it within a Google Sheet. The last one I showed you is great because it's a Google Doc and you can post it and do a bit manual. This takes it another step forward. And of course, you can access to all these resources in these files, so you don't need to build automation by jumping the down below. I only created it a couple of days ago and the support's been overwhelming. So if you're watching this video at this stage and you're part of the community, I just want to say thank you. And I'm really excited about where we can build it. And everybody in the group, I just want to get like an amazing unfair advantage so that you can get light years ahead of everybody else. Because I'll tell you this, people are going to be blown away by this sort of stuff. Honestly, most people have no idea you can do this sort of stuff. When we combine no-code automation with agents, the future is agentic, and this sort of stuff is incredible. One of my friends I met in college who is a coder, he cannot believe that this is possible. And this is the sort of stuff, guys, that like huge like AI research labs are doing, but you can do it all yourself now using these tools. And that's what I want this channel to be about, empowering people to be able to do this cool, amazing automations. And I want to help in any way that I can. If you're watching, thanks for watching. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time.